the mining colony on Kepler 89F was supposed to be safe. Isolated, heavily monitored, and far from the warring sectors, it was a place where humans worked long shifts pulling rare ores from the ground while trying not to think about the alien empires that loomed beyond. But safety was always an illusion. When the storm hit, a screaming cyclone of acid rain and dust, it caught the colony by surprise. Most families had made it to the bunkers, but when the alarms finally went silent and the storm retreated, one human, Daniel Ross, stayed outside to check the perimeter. That's when he heard the crying. At first, he thought it was the wind playing tricks. But the sound grew clearer. Two high-pitched wails, frightened and raw. Daniel followed it through the wreckage, past twisted metal and burning debris, until he found a shattered pod half buried in mud. Inside were two small alien girls. They weren't human. Too many sharp angles in their features, too much violet in their skin. Their eyes glowed faintly. Their claws were tipped in silver, but they were children all the same. Their tiny arms reached out in desperation as their pods sparked and hissed. Without thinking, Daniel climbed inside. Hey, it's all right, he whispered, pulling them out. One claw raked across his arm, drawing blood, but he ignored it. He wrapped both trembling bodies in his jacket and carried them back to the colony shelter. The other miners stared as he stumbled in, two alien children clinging to his chest. "Ross," one man hissed, "what the hell are you doing? Those things could be dangerous." "They're kids," Daniel snapped. "Doesn't matter what species." For the rest of the night, he fed them ration bars, soothed their cries, and let them curl up against him as the storm howled outside. By dawn, the girls were asleep in his lap. That should have been the end of it. But the next day, the real storm arrived. The colony's scanners screamed warning. A warship was descending. Sleek, black, and bristling with weapons, it dwarfed the human settlement. Fear spread like wildfire. This wasn't a trade vessel, it was a predator. And when the ship landed, she came. Tall, armored in scales that shimmered like obsidian. Her presence made hardened miners shrink back in terror. Her eyes burned molten gold as she surveyed the humans. Soldiers flanked her, their weapons humming. The alien queen, and the two girls Daniel had rescued, now awake, squealed with delight and rushed into her arms. "Mother!" The colony froze. Those weren't just alien children. They were royal heirs. Daniel stood rigid, blood still staining his sleeve, as the queen knelt and inspected her daughters. Her talons were gentle as they clung to her neck, chattering in their native tongue, pointing back at the human who had pulled them from the wreck. Slowly, the queen rose. "Who?" Her voice rolled like thunder. The girls both pointed at Daniel. The soldiers reacted instantly, leveling their weapons at him. Every human in the colony flinched, but the queen raised a single hand, and the soldiers froze. She studied him in silence. "You risked your life. For them." Daniel swallowed hard. They were children. Didn't matter whose. A long pause. Her molten gaze lingered on the bloodied claw marks on his arm, on the jacket still draped around her daughter's shoulders. Something unreadable passed over her expression. At last, she spoke. "Few among my kind would act so. Fewer among yours. Yet you did." The miners expected execution. Instead, the queen reached into her cloak and withdrew something small. A crystal sphere, glowing with shifting light. She held out. "My people honor debts," she said. "You have saved not just heirs, but the future of my throne. This is the seed of accord. It will answer one request, beyond wealth, beyond war. Use it wisely." Daniel stared, dumbstruck. A human janitor turned miner, now holding an alien artifact of immeasurable power. The colony murmured in awe, some in fear. But Daniel only shook his head. "I don't want power. Just make sure they grow up safe. And maybe let our people live without looking over our shoulders." The queen tilted her head, considering. Then she laughed, a sound sharp as breaking glass. A simple wish, but perhaps a strong one. She leaned down, so her blazing eyes met his. "From this day, no blade of my empire shall fall upon this colony. Your people are under my protection, because of you." And with that, she swept her daughters back to the warship, leaving the humans trembling in stunned silence. Years later, when tales of the human who rescued the alien queen's daughters spread through both species, the galaxy learned a truth many tried to ignore. Sometimes the greatest victories of humanity did not come from ships or soldiers, but from compassion. And Daniel Ross, miner, janitor, and unlikely savior, became a legend not because he was the strongest, but because, in the face of fear, he chose to be human.